If your fishing reel does that, probably no, you know? How is it going, guys? Bass and Bill 96 here, and today on this nice gusty fall day, we're gonna be doing something kind of cool. And as you can see, I got something in my hand here. This is a little cheap $8 reel that I bought on Wish.com. If you guys have a Facebook account or an Instagram account or anything like that, you've probably seen some goofy fishing product pop up from Wish.com, and I've always wondered, are they any good? Like, can you use these products? They're super, super cheap. They come over here from China, and they pretty much undercut the prices of any like normal fishing reel or lure or anything like that you're gonna find online. And I bought this little $8 reel. It was one of the cheapest, like halfway decent looking fishing reels that I could find on their site, and we're gonna string this thing up, toss this thing around, and see what I can do with this little $8 reel. Like, is this thing even worth having in my arsenal? Can I use this thing for actual fishing, or is it just kind of a gimmicky piece of garbage over there from China? So we're gonna check it out. Let me get some line on this reel right here, and we're gonna get to fishing. Okay, so first impressions, I got this thing pretty much spooled up here, and it's spooling on there like super unevenly, which I don't know if that's something to do with the reel or the fact that I'm not like using a rod. I'm kind of just like holding the reel here and doing it. So I've never really spooled the reel this way. Usually I attach this thing to a rod, and that might have something to do with it, but right now it's really bottom heavy where all the line's pooling up, and I have no idea, like I said, if that's something to do with the reel or the way that I'm spooling this thing. But we got some line on there, so that is first things first. Now, another super crucial thing though with a spinning reel is how good is the drag system on it, and honestly, this thing has like some pretty decent drag. Like, it's decently smooth. For an $8 reel, it's probably the best that I've ever seen, I'm not gonna lie. Because usually when you go to like Walmart and pick up one of those cheap spinning reels, the drag comes out like all like in different increments and stuff, but this thing seems like it's pretty buttery smooth, not going to lie. Overall, so far, first impression, halfway decent reel, but we're gonna get this thing on a rod, and I'm gonna tie up some lures, and we're gonna start catching some bass and see how it holds up to a few fish. So last thing before we get into the fishing, guys, is this video is not sponsored by Wish. It's not sponsored by Reels King or anything like that, but today's video is going to be brought to you guys by Catchco Baits, and we're going to be using this BioSpawn Exo Swim to try to catch some bass today and to pretty much just test out this reel and see how this thing holds up. So we're going to rig up this little 3.25 inch swim bait on a 3/16 ounce Strike King ball head jig and start fishing some flats for those fish that are transitioning in this fall patterns. I live in Southwest Michigan. The water temperature is dropping very, very fast. The morning temps are down to like 30 and 40 degrees, so those fish are moving up in a big way, and we're gonna try to capitalize on some of those fish that are moving up and feeding on shad. Alrighty, so let's get this swim bait rigged up and try to catch some fish. The color we're throwing today is Lab Magic, and like I said, I'm throwing this little 3.25 inch size because the bait fish in this lake are actually pretty small. There's not like a ton of big shad or anything crazy like that, but otherwise, if there was, BioSpawn does make a 4 inch and I believe a 5 inch size too. So whatever size the forage is in your area, you can try these things out. That's all I really do when I'm throwing a swim bait, is I like throwing just a nice straight shank ball head jig like that, and I just rig it up there. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So let's make our first cast and see if there's anything, you know, wrong with this reel, this super cheap $8 reel. Well, that's a bomb. That's a bomb cast right there. And honestly, as far as how smooth this reel is, it feels super smooth. This thing claims to have 12 ball bearings, but as you guys probably know, a lot of those like weird Chinese companies, they'll say that the lure has like 10 bearings and then there's like 3 in there, but this thing feels relatively smooth. I'm honestly very impressed. I was expecting this to be a video of me just straight up bashing this reel, but we're gonna have to hook a fish and see what happens, see how the drag plays out, and just see how it feels on this reel. But honestly, I am super impressed by just, you know, the way that this drag sounds right off the bat, and the way that this thing casts. One thing you probably have to watch out though for, guys, even if I, you know, at the end of this video I say this reel's an awesome product or whatever for $8, there's a good chance that this thing will fall apart really fast. That is one thing that I've noticed with some of these like super cheap Chinese products that you could ship over like that. Like, it might work fine, it might be great for the money, but then, you know, 2 months down the road, this thing might just be a complete piece of garbage. But for $8, it's really not a bad deal. So far, no luck, but we're just kind of sticking around these docks, trying to stay out of the wind a little bit. If we don't get bit here pretty soon, we're gonna go out to the main lake. It's super choppy out there, and it's probably gonna be a little bit hard to hear me, but there should be some fish out there on those main lake flats. So we're gonna try this for a little bit longer, fishing around these docks, and if we don't get bit pretty soon though, we're gonna go out there and start catching some bass because they just don't seem to be over here right now. There we go, first one. Okay, well the drag is peeling a lot. I don't think that I set it that loose. Oh, it's a pike too. Hopefully this thing doesn't snap me off. She's thrashing. It's a decent little pike on there. First fish on the old, I don't even know, I honestly don't even know what this reel is called. A reel king, the reel king. Little pike here. I guess I could probably grab her. We're gonna use the old net so we don't snap this fish off. All right, so first fish on this little Chinese $8 reel. She popped right out. Okay, come here, hold up, girl. And first thing I noticed is, as you guys saw, when I set the hook on that thing, the drag started peeling, and I had it set decently tight. Like, it wasn't winched down by any means, but we are gonna winch it down a little bit further and see if that makes a difference, or we'll see if the drag's just not that good. Okay, well, I was trying to fish over here because it was a little bit calmer and better for the video, but we're gonna go out to the main lake because I think that is where we need to be. We need to be out there on those main lake flats if we want to catch some of these fall bass. So we're gonna move out there. The audio is probably gonna get a little bit crustier, but it should be okay, and hopefully we get into some fish here. There we go. Okay, the drag is peeling quite a bit. Like I said, I have it winched down pretty good. I'm just gonna go with the drag's not that great on this reel, which is probably what I should expect. First bass of the day though, on the old $8 reel right here. There we go. Nice little, probably barely Michigan keeper, about a 14-incher, 13, 14-incher. On that little Biospawn Exo Swim, but I don't know, the drag on this thing is not really doing it for me. Not a huge fan, but I gotta catch a few more fish to get my full opinion on it, but I'm gonna winch it down a little bit further. I will say this though, it still does seem pretty smooth. Like, it's not like it's coming out in weird increments or anything. It's just like it's peeling out even though I haven't winched down. Like right now, I haven't touched it at all. It's like pretty hard for me to pull that right there. But then yet when I get a fish on, it just peels the drag right off, and that fish wasn't even very big. So I'm not positive on what's going on with the drag system. It does feel relatively smooth, but it's peeling a lot more than it should, and I just don't understand why. But we'll catch a few more fish. I'm gonna actually winch this down a couple more notches and see if that does the trick right there. But we've only been out on this flat for about 3 minutes, and I just caught our first bass, so they should be loaded out here. Dude, I don't know what it's doing when I'm casting either. It seems like every freaking cast now, the line's like getting caught up on something, and I have no idea what's going on. I thought it was my leader line, but it's actually happening like 10 feet beneath my leader line. But it's like every cast, and it's making it so I can only cast like 20, 30 yards. Which earlier it was straight up bombing, so I don't know what's going on, guys. The line all looks pretty good to me. Yeah, see, like right there, like I don't know what's going on. Like the line's getting all caught up on itself, which I've never had happen with braid to fluoro. Usually it's super, super smooth. Dude, oh my gosh. Yep, it's about official, boys and girls. We're about to call this thing out for the piece of junk that it is. We're gonna do it. This thing is just getting tangled up, cast after cast after cast. Why? Why do you do this to me? Huh? Does anybody know in the comment section what would cause a spinning reel to do this? I know it's a cheap spinning reel, but like structurally it's the same as any other spinning reel. Like out of all the things to like not work on this thing, that's the last thing I expected. I figured that the drag would be bad or like it would just fall apart or something, but I don't understand how when I make a cast, the line just like gets tangled up somehow, some way. There we go. Come on, stay pinned, baby. Stay pinned up. The reel is actually working good now. I winched that drag down pretty dang far, and it didn't seem to be peeling like crazy that time, but we just moved over here to the edge of a different flat, pretty much the exact same pattern that I just missed that last fish on, and there we go. We caught us a bass. We're moving in the right direction, boys and girls. We're just throwing that little Biospawn Exo Swim, that little 3.25-incher, and working the edge of these flats now. But I'm reeling this thing super slow, and she smoked it. There we go. There we go, right in that big pile of grass. That's right where you expect one of these. Oh yeah, that's a decent one too. Finally got a decent bass on. Come on, baby. Come on, baby. Come here. Come here. We're gonna bow flip her. Oh yeah, baby. Oh, she snapped off. She just broke off the line. Holy smokes. There we go, baby. Yeah. On that little biospawn. Let me see if you guys can see this quick. So if you can see right here, there's a big dark patch, and I just chucked that swim bait out there, and she was sitting right in that grass. That's perfect. That's what we've been after right there. A nice solid little 1.5, 2 pounder. This lake's not really known for its giants, but if you get like a 15-incher like that one, you're in business. Decent little bass. Audio is probably terrible, but we're gonna get this thing tied back up. I think that we got them kind of figured out a little bit. There we go. There we go. Come on, baby. Come here, baby. Come here. That's a stocky girl, dude. Okay, well, after having a very rough go at it, we are getting on some fish here. That's a stocky little like 13, 14-incher. Definitely not, whoa, definitely not a giant, but it is getting very, very windy outside, so I honestly have no idea what you guys are able to hear right now, but this reel is falling apart. I will talk more about this in a second here. I'm gonna try to catch like 1 or 2 more fish, but this reel is literally falling apart. Just an FYI, your fishing reel is not supposed to be able to do this with like little to no force. That's not, you don't want to see that happening, you know? If your fishing reel does that, probably no, you know? I think that we're gonna pretty much end it on that, because this thing is just completely and utterly falling apart, because it's not good. $8, not so good, guys. Who would have known? Who would have guessed? But we're gonna go back to my house, and I'm gonna set the tripod up, and I'm gonna give you guys a full breakdown on this reel, pretty much go over everything that I learned about it today. So if you guys wanna know how terrible this reel is, stay tuned, and I'm gonna go back to my house real quick and give you guys the old rundown. Okay, so we're back at my house, and we are ready to do a very in-depth reel review of this beautiful piece of product right here that I had the pleasure of fishing with today. But before we get into that, I do want to give a huge thank you to today's sponsor, Catchco Baits. Biospawn Exoswim was a major player today. I pretty much caught every single fish on it except for that bluegill, which also came on a Catchco bait. But we threw the swim bait around a lot. Today was honestly not that great for fishing, and this just made it so much worse. Without further ado, let's jump into today's reel review. This is the reel that we were fishing with today. It's a Yamoshi Reels King reel, and I bought it on Wish, like I said earlier, for $8, and I kind of was expecting it to be terrible, obviously. Like, that was kind of the whole point of doing the video, but I thought that it would be like tolerable, and it really was not. If you guys saw, I barely could cast this thing. Like 9 times out of 10, I feel like the line just got all screwed up on the reel for absolutely no reason at all. And at the very end of the day, I don't know if you guys saw, but this reel, check this out. This is what this reel is basically sitting at now. After fishing with it for 1 day, mind you. Like, obviously I'm, you know, manhandling the crap out of this thing a little bit, but like, this is not good. That's not what you want to see out of your fishing reels after 1 day of fishing. Like, I'm really not doing it that hard, and this reel is just completely and utterly trashed. So we fished with this thing all day. Honestly, my first opinions of this thing were pretty high. I thought that it was a halfway decent reel for $8. I figured maybe you could get a couple months out of it, but this thing after 1 day belongs in a cemetery, a fishing reel cemetery. The whole thing is just basically falling apart, and I had an absolutely terrible time trying to catch a bass using this thing, but hopefully you guys got some entertainment out of this. I wanted to pull my hair out and maybe rip each one of my fingernails off with a pair of pliers one by one, because that's how this reel made me feel today. But thank you guys for watching today's video. If you guys enjoyed today's video, please hit that subscribe button. It really means a lot to me. And also, if you like the video, hit that thumbs up button too. But I'm going to go put this reel exactly where it belongs.